Welcome back to the Reseller Journey podcast. And in this episode, we're going to be dealing with some stuff, with a lot of talk about what is going on eBay and how can resellers capitalize in this moment. And if you are new to the channel, my name is Bo Johnson, where I deep dive some tips and strategies what we can do on eBay as resellers to help be successful resellers. So let's get right into it. We have a quick presentation on the quarter 2 results on eBay's growth, projection, and kind of looking into how many active buyers there are versus how many active sellers, and kind of deep diving into some of the statistics. So if you like numbers, we're going to be going all throughout what eBay has done through in the early 2000s to up until now and see what its future holds for potential resellers. So I want to start off and preface by saying that change is inevitable, that there is no way that you can avoid change as a human. There's two things that are certain in life, that is time and change. And in my belief, I believe that there is 4 types of people that either respond or react to change. There are people who make things happen. Those are the people that are initiators of change. There's people that watch things happen. They wait for the right opportunity to fall in their lap and then they proceed. There's a type of change that happens within us that's uncontrollable and it can be controlled to a certain extent. And then there's change that happens within us, around us, in our surroundings. Those are the people that watch things happen. So when the world is in a constant state of change, we need to remember that we need to control the controllables. We need to always be adapting, changing, learning new things to be able to ride the wave of change. We never want to put ourselves in a position of being a victim of change. And I see the landscape happening on eBay right now where there's an all-time high of negativity. There's an all-time high of, oh my goodness, the sky is falling. What do I do? So instead of playing more of that card like a victim, what are some things that we can do as resellers to take advantage of the situation, to make a positive impact, and proceed forward with our vision, with our goals? So we have a quick little, slideshow presentation, but I just wanted to preface the whole podcast by saying, change is inevitable, and I just encourage you guys to be the number one leader of change by initiating the change that you want to see in your business, in your life, personally, financially. Always be the change initiator. Because if you're not planning the change in your life, then someone else is planning it for you. Don't let eBay plan your future. So, wanted to say also one of my favorite scriptures, and this is my belief. You don't have to believe what I believe, but seasons are constant. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, it says, to all things there is a season. There is a season under the heavens in a constant state of change. There's a time to laugh, a time to be sad. There's a time to rejoice and a time to mourn. That is one of my favorite scriptures that keeps popping up in my mind that, progressions are always followed with regressions. Spring always follows winter. Every time, right? Summer doesn't jump in front of spring after winter, right? So if you're broke right now, it's just a season. If you're single right now, it's just a season. So why this is important, because it ties exactly into what we're going to be talking about right now, is that we're talking about the seasons of eBay, the progressions, the regressions, the recessions. So I just want to encourage you guys that be the initiator of change in your life and don't really pay too much around you of too much focus on what is going around you, because you cannot control a lot of what's going on around you, but you can control how you run your business. So, we're going to be looking and deep diving eBay's numbers. There seems to be a lot of talk going on in circles around, decreased traffic. Sales are just the worst they've ever been. And I come here to tell you that this isn't the first time things happen on the platform like this. So let's look at what is eBay doing as a big business to help sellers to help buyers. So if we can get some better perspective on what eBay is doing exactly with our sales, with our business, we'll get some more insight on what to do for the future. So we're going to be looking at their performance. Just going to dive into the recent performance of eBay. Basically, just took their PDF, their quarterly report, and we plugged it in here. So it's going to give us a lot of good details on what exactly is going on. So, what we noticed in this last report is there was and has been for some time now a decline in active buyers. So, fewer active buyers, eBay experienced a 4% decline in active buyers compared to the previous year. This resulted in lower transaction volume and fees for the platform. And you're probably saying, well, yeah, of course. There was the pandemic. Uh, you know, there was a lot of people brought on to the platform through that, and of course there would be a decline. But if you look back further, the data suggests that this has been an ongoing problem since 2015. eBay failing to hold buyers on their platform. So a 4% decline year over year, not the best news. So let's dive deeper. Lower gross merchandise volume, GMV, a very good statistic to follow to find the health of a business. eBay's total value of transactions, known as GMV, decreased by 2% year over year. This indicates a decrease in overall activity on the platform. Implications for sellers. So, what does it mean for us? For sellers on eBay, the decline in active buyers and lower GMV may create challenges in growing their businesses on the platform. Okay, so we got a good idea what is going on. So, this chart might open your eyes a little bit. You can see here, see if I can scroll down a little bit. All right. So this is eBay's users, just kind of over the last 13 years by quarter. eBay had 138 million active users in 2022, which is still substantially higher than Mercari, Poshmark, all of the other leaders behind eBay, quite a bit more than what they have. So even at a 13% decrease on the same date in 2021, active users have been in decline since 2018. So you can see here, and there's just a nice chart. You could see you can kind of peak out around 2018 with 179 million active buyers, and then a steady decline since. Even when we had the pandemic, there was a little bit of an uptrend and then a sharp decline come quarter 2 2021, where we went from 166 million in 2020 to as low as 129 today. So pretty sharp decrease. But what does this mean for sellers exactly? And how can we take advantage of this? So eBay sellers across the platform, eBay had 18 million active sellers on the platform last year, a decrease of a million in a year. So since 2007, you can see there was 1.3 million sellers in 2007, steady increase up until about 2015, 2014 area. You could see it peaked in 2014, which you would say that would be the prime time to get the prime time that eBay was making its money, let's just say. So 25 million active sellers on the platform. And then just you could see a steady decrease. And you could say, yeah, it's the addition of those other platforms, Poshmark, Mercari, other platforms for selling. And while that might be true, I really feel like eBay is struggling on the innovative side of things. Innovation is key to keeping your business riding the waves of change. If you fail to be innovative in your business, in your life, then it's going to be a struggle for you to capture traditional ideas in staying stuck in your ways and expecting to be successful. If you've read the book by Sam Walton, How eBay or how Walmart made its transition to seeing how the businesses ran now so successfully. They had to become innovative, and if they did not innovate, no, Walmart wouldn't even be in business right now. So they were on the verge of bankruptcy in the 90s, and they had to drum up some innovation to stay current, to stay relevant. And I feel like eBay is a business where they really lack a lot of innovation. So you can see the website is changing more than it ever has, but still the changes aren't exactly good for sellers and for buyers. A lot of errors, a lot of glitches. And if you're an eBay seller, comment down below, what errors are you experiencing right now on eBay? There's errors for sending out offers to watchers. There's errors for making changing to your listings that it doesn't save. There's errors for looking up items that you know are listed in your store and you can never find them. So this is an issue. A multi-million dollar business struggling to even program their platform correctly. So come on now. We got to get things right. But this is no way where we should be discouraged as resellers. It's just a season. So let's look into some more statistics on what the heck is eBay doing. So this is my traffic. You probably noticed this as well. In this on the 17th, around July 17th, saw a sharp decrease in traffic. I would say about 30% decrease in promoted listing impressions. And then you could see that carried on for about 10 days straight of almost about the same. Like I was getting limited or shadow banned or held in some kind of cap, right? Where my promoted listings definitely weren't reaching as many people as they were. And this is the first time I've seen this on the platform in about 2.5 years. Never experienced a sharp decrease in impressions, though my sales seemed to range between 20, 25 sales a day during that period. But it wasn't until about the 27th, 26th, around there, is when the sales dropped off for me. I had a day where I just sold 10 items, and that hasn't happened in over a year. But you can see now, looks like impressions are back on track. So, what does this mean? What did eBay do? What were they thinking? Were they messing around on some back end stuff? I was in communication with eBay over the phone, over chat, tech support, asking, what is going on, eBay? No answer. They're not going to give you the answer, right? Unless you get it higher up on the chain of command. Can I talk to your supervisor? What is going on? So you could see here, impressions are back. Promoted impressions are back. I promote everything at 10%. I didn't turn off any promotions. I didn't flip things back and forth. I was kind of just patient and waiting it out. So I do feel like I want to explain a little bit on how smaller sellers can approach this. And this is why I believe it's important to diversify your sources of income and not put all your eggs in one basket. So you could see through the Facebook groups, through the threads, through the Reddit forums, that a lot of smaller sellers were struggling with this. And you got to really be focused on your vision, your mission, your goals to keep you surviving through these ever changing times, and specifically on eBay. You see a lot of people that if they don't get consistent sales after a couple days and they're a smaller seller, they might be early to throw in the towel. And I just say to you, don't ever do that. Don't ever base your life's dream on just a few days of slow sales. So, this is why it's important to have vision, to have a goal, and stay committed to it. But let's look at what is going on in the landscape of eBay and what can we do going forward. Is eBay a platform where we want to continue to build upon with things like Poshmark Lives, whatnot, taking the platforms by storm with the reselling and the live auctions? What should we be doing as resellers? Should we put all our eggs in one basket, or should we now look to diversify in alternative ways to resell our items? So this last quarter report might have looked good overall, but what I got out of it, the takeaway, was interesting. I believe that eBay is really trying to hammer down on the sellers to make more of their money. So I don't know if you guys promote your listings or if you've played around with it, but there's something called a dynamic ad rate. And if you look at the dynamic ad rate, you can see something a little funny there. You can see that it's quite a bit higher than it used to be. You remember the days of suggested ad rate of, well, I do, and this was just about a year ago, of 6.5%. Suggested ad rate, 7.4%. Suggested ad rate, 5.8%. Now you see suggested ad rates as high as 15% for a Gap t shirt. What? So this is interesting. So while we're all in panic with impressions going down and oh my goodness, what's going on? How many sellers were messing around with their promoted listings and go, you know what, eBay, I'm going to give you the suggested dynamic ad rate because that's what you're telling me is suggested. Maybe now I need to pay up more to play this game. And while that might work for your business, you can see that something drastically changed from going a suggested ad rate to between 6 and 8% to now 14, 15, 16% for selling everyday items. While I just am going to continue to do the 10% that I've been used to, how many people were either threw in the towel? How many people just basically stopped promoting altogether? And then how many sellers went for that so eBay can start generating more revenue? So the impact of increased costs, and basically from a seller's point of view, rising operating expenses. eBay's operating expenses rose by 70 million, mainly due to higher product development costs. So innovating on their app, this increase in costs may impact its profit margins. So where are they going to pull that money from? Number two is declining operating margin. eBay's operating margin decreased from 21.7% to 20.4%. This decline indicates a lower level of profitability for the company. Number three is higher tax rate. eBay's GAAP effective tax rate rose to 39.7%. This higher tax rate reduces the company's net income, affecting its overall financial performance. So, a couple things at play here. Number four is lower cash from operations. eBay generated 605 million in operating cash flow, down from 577 million. Less operating cash flow means fewer funds available for business investments and growth. So, positive signs. There were some positive things. And if you are a shareholder or maybe you don't even sell on eBay at all, here's what they say as positive. They are generating more income, but not by holding and getting more buyers to the platform, by just charging sellers more. That's how they're making their money. They're wanting to really expand upon the luxury items, the sneaker phase, the hype in more luxury goods, more higher profitability items. So you're seeing where the everyday seller maybe doesn't have access to that type of stuff. Maybe they're the ones that are going to be on the wrong side of the coin here when it comes to, eBay promoting your stuff, showing your stuff to the right buyer. Are they going to prioritize people who list more luxury items, more hype sneakers, because they're wanting to capitalize more on the fees? So, what are the positive signs? So, overall, solid revenue growth. eBay delivered a solid 5% year-over-year revenue growth, driven by its advertising and payments businesses. This indicates the continued strength of its business model. Profit beat expectations. eBay's earnings per share exceeded Wall Street estimates, indicating continued profitability and financial success for the company. So now let's get into, as a seller, there's a lot of things going on eBay that we need to be aware about. And if you missed the chart earlier, you could see there's been a rapid decline in sellers and active buyers on the platform for the past several years. Number one is strategic initiatives gaining traction. eBay saw good growth in its advertising revenues and payments intermediation business, providing the effectiveness of its strategic focus areas. Active buyers declining. The 4% drop in active buyers is a concern for eBay, highlighting the need for efforts to re-engage buyers and drive increased user engagement. Number three is margin pressure and competitiveness. Declining margins indicate rising costs, and competitive pressures for eBay to maintain profitability. eBay must focus on cost management and operational efficiency. So, lots going on there. If there is declining active buyers year over year, declining active sellers year over year, what does this tell you as a lifelong eBay reseller? It means that change is happening, and it's something to be aware about. You don't just want to ignore it. You do want to have it in the back of your mind, praying and hoping that eBay comes along, hires maybe someone in management and in leadership to help innovate. You want to be able to see eBay expand upon their live auctions, expand upon, what you see going on trending right now. And it seems like eBay fails to do this. And then on the flip side, turns to its sellers to help increase more fees. So while I do still think eBay is the best platform to resell on, it's something to keep in your mind as a reseller to maybe open up different avenues to resell your items. Have you tried Whatnot? Have you tried Poshmark? Have you tried cross listing? For me, have never been opposed to cross listing. It's just up until now, up until this last month, there has been changes on these platforms, and it's intriguing. You see a lot of other big resellers now start cross listing on multiple platforms. I say that is great. You want your items that you work so hard to go source and take photos of to have them as many eyeballs as possible. What I believed the biggest downfall for cross listing to be was um, when your item sold on a platform, you had to go in and manually delist it off of the other platforms. Where I think we're now turning a corner as far as managing that process, now being handled by AI. So that can make things a little bit easier for you to manage when things sell on eBay, you can delist it off Poshmark and vice versa. So we're in a new stage. I believe we are in that paradigm shift as far as more resellers coming in to this market, more buyers buying used goods. But now we need to figure out, well, what platform are we going to build our business on? Are we just going to choose one? Are we going to choose several? Are we going to be a wholesaler? How are you going to choose to set up your business? I truly believe putting all your eggs in one basket and going all in is not the wisest choice at the moment. So I want to get into a few of your guys' comments and questions. And if you do have questions throughout this podcast, please drop them down below. I'm here to help you guys. Are you guys experiencing any weird issues, errors, slowdowns in your eBay store? Has your impressions increased back up? I know things are looking good over the last 2 days, but that's not saying much. So Teaching AI says, I have to change my business model because Goodwill just stopped doing dollar days in my county. They only do 50% off one color on Sunday. They already did a price increase this year, so this is wild. Change is happening all around us. So what are we going to do? This is why I started doing porch pickups with Green Threads Clothing Recycling Company. Posted it, made a Facebook page. I'm looking for alternative ways to bring in inventory. But that was awesome that you had Goodwill doing dollar days. I haven't seen dollar day nothing at Goodwill in quite some time. At my local Goodwill, you can buy a pair of Wrangler jeans for $24. You can buy a pair of Miss Me jeans for $44. There's no color tags. There's no dollar days. There's nothing. It's like, here's what it is. You take it or you leave it, or you'll see it at the Goodwill bins in a few weeks. So I do live in a smaller town, so they're kind of just capitalizing on everything with less competition. So, but yeah, take advantage, and now you have a 50% off one color on Sunday. Change. I like supporting mom and pop thrift stores because it's going to supporting their family business, and I actually don't mind paying up for them. But for Goodwill, I might look elsewhere before you see me walking into a Goodwill thrift store. Flip It Good says, what's up? How's it going? Bill says, does your wife work? I know you have a big family, and I was wondering if you use this income as your only income. Appreciate it as always. Yeah, so eBay is not my only source of income. I do Amazon Influencer Program, Amazon Print on Demand. We do a little bit of wholesale here and there. And eBay, I would say, makes up about 50 to 60% of our total income month over month. Um, but yeah, I just, coming from experience, I know that if I only had eBay, I'd be freaking out, because when your income or your sales drop by 50% in 7 days, you're, it's hard not to feel the pressure, right? Especially as a husband and a father. I always just felt, and this is my belief, God telling me to expand, to expand in different areas, go into all the world. So I was going to put my focus on eBay, and I still am, but now I'm spread out in other areas where I can now bring in income. So, yeah, that's kind of how I am. My wife, she does work. She works harder than me. Are you kidding me? She homeschools our 4 kids. So, she allows me to even be here in front of you guys talking. It's definitely a team, but we do different types of work. But I have enjoyed going to yard sales and garage sales, where now she can help me kind of source a little bit, which she does enjoy now. But yeah, she's working harder than me, and she is the reason how I'm able to come out here and help you guys, which is actually what I'm more passionate about anyways. But yeah, thank you. Jamie in the house. How's it going, Jamie? Hope you're well. Josh, hope you're doing good. Thanks for coming on. Traffic, inconsistency, and poor customer service are top gripes for me. Yeah, my traffic's been okay. The summer has been steady. It's like I'm averaging, I think, in a rolling 30-day period through June, July, and now heading into August, it's been about 14 to 15 million impressions, with averaging about 500,000 a day. But man, just recently, that last week was like down 30 some percent in impressions, and you definitely feel the pressure. Customer service as well. I think every time I do a chat on eBay, it's basically they're just telling you what you want to hear. And I've never really gotten good results doing it in the chat. Always better results having them call me and speaking person to person. But yeah, man, eBay could definitely get better in that aspect, especially from a buyer's point of view and a seller's point of view. Deborah says, my promotions are changing to 16%. I changed them and the next day back. I changed them and the next day back to 16%. That's quite a bit high. What are you selling, Deborah? Are you doing the dynamic ad rate or a fixed ad rate? Curious. Jamie says, I have not sold much yet, only 2 items, and it was probably a couple months ago. So I haven't sold anything. 70 items so far, and I've hired a lister to help me. Yeah, I remember you were talking about that. Now is the season more than ever to just find the best items you can possible. This is why I'm now getting into more of alternative ways to source, going down the rabbit hole of storage units, going out to more garage sales, and looking for other ways to get inventory. I know a good friend, Sean with Taylor Exchange, he did something different. He has a buy sell trade store. That's a great idea, to have people come in to sell you their nicer items, and then you either can sell them locally in your brick and mortar store or list them on eBay. Have another friend, Parker Hayes with Ghost Town Outfitters, similar type of model, but now where he's just maybe buying people's inventory or their excess donations that would go to Goodwill, and now putting them in his store for much cheaper than what local thrift stores are charging. So there's so many alternative ways that are outside the box that I think that are going to become more popular over time. And Jamie, I just encourage you, with 70 items in your store, keep consistent in your listing and do whatever it takes to keep researching brand knowledge. I don't know what you sell, but continuing to look for better items to put in your store with better sell-through rates and higher average sale price. Now more than ever is the time to do that, especially with eBay focusing on more higher end items. They even say that in their Q2 report, that they're looking to start pushing more luxury items. So Yosef says, are you live? I am live. I'm here, and hopefully there's no delay, and hopefully you guys can hear me, because you never know with the Starlink. So Uh, Joyce says, "Hey, Bo, wouldn't talk about how many items? Oh, would you talk about how many items you get pictured in one day?" So behind me here, you can see the stack right there. So right over here is just my photography setup. I lay out about 50 items every day, sometimes 80, but usually it's 50 minimum. And I take between 8 to 12 photos per item. And that puts me around 550 photos, 600 photos for a batch. And then those get uploaded to my lister to start working on future listings. So it takes me about an hour. Sometimes less, sometimes a little more. Depends if it's jackets, button ups, depends on what I'm dealing with. But that's kind of how I go my process. I will be making a video detailing the whole photo setup. I want to build a new photo setup, and I want to show you how cheap it actually is to get started doing a vertical flat lay so you guys could start taking photos of your clothing or whatever it may be. I like the vertical flat lay because I'm not hunched over all the time or looking on the ground, or, I want to be able to have the item that I'm taking the photo of be directly in front of me with good positioning and posture. Yosef says, "I'm back. So how can I conquer reselling game when these people leave the game?" That's exactly right. How many people that you know of? I know if you go into Reddit and down the rabbit hole on Facebook groups regarding eBay, a lot of people are throwing in the towel. Like every other post is like, "I'm done with eBay. I've had enough." And how many people quit during these last couple weeks? And is that going to give a better opportunity for the people that stayed faithful to their vision and their goals? I don't know. But it's going to take a lot more than just a few weeks of slow sales and errors and bugs to knock me off my horse. I didn't prepare and do all this work for the last few years on eBay to just have a month worth of terrible things happening to just make me quit. So I don't know about you guys. Where are you at as far as how do you feel about eBay? What do you feel like the future is for eBay? I've always liked going back to this principle, and this is just my belief. You don't have to believe it, but I do believe that being positive doesn't guarantee that you'll be successful, but being negative will guarantee you won't be. So, if we're being negative about what's going on in our constant life of a reseller, it's going to be hard for us to maintain and sustain success. This is why I try to bring positivity in everything we do as a human. There's always a different perspective and outlook in life. How you see the world is the world that you see. So it's important that you capture vision, see beyond sight, and start using your heart and your mind to see into the future of what could be. So, eBay up and down. But does that change us much as resellers? I'm still going to be selling on eBay until the website literally shuts down. I'm still going to be using eBay because if you look at the active buyers compared to the next available option, I think Poshmark has around 25 million active buyers. eBay still has 4 to 5 times as much active buyers on their platform versus Poshmark. So that's just kind of where I was sitting at that point of view. I may even start cross listing. So we'll see. Josh says sellers are boosting their ad rates because they're desperate for sales. Business viability is at stake for many eBayers, 100%. What was the stat? Chris from Daily Refinement says it quite often is like, I think like the majority of sellers on eBay, 90%, gross $2,000 a month in sales. So if that's what we're up against, how many of those 90% are just like, you know what, I'm done. This isn't worth my time. Just takes 10 days of no sales, and now they're on to doing something else. So it's interesting. I knew that I'm always going to stay firm at the 10% fixed ad rate. And I'm just going to really, if I start changing a bunch of things in my business, I really don't know what change cause that outcome. So I'm going to stay really consistent and stay at 50 listings a day, 10% promoted a day. All I'm doing, the change that I'm doing is just bringing in better items. I'm now not listing the stuff that I was listing even 6 months ago. So now I'm just really setting higher, one step of standards higher to not be listing in stuff with holes, stuff with stains, and maybe some brands that were really low, slower sellers for me That's a good point, Josh. Mr. Run Good. So many awful sellers on eBay. I wish eBay would force everyone to offer free returns. Everyone and their mother has a story about getting jerked around by eBay sellers. Yeah, that's 100% true. I've seen people ship out stuff in pizza boxes. So that's just a side note, but I have seen that, and don't do that, please. Don't do that. Yeah, and this is why when you go into your listing quality report and you check average shipping time that the buyer takes to ship to the seller is 8.5 business days. So if your competition is shipping stuff out in 8.5 business days and you have next day, same day shipping, you're already miles above your competition. There's a lot of bad sellers selling bootleg stuff, fake stuff. So I'll tell you this, the good news is it doesn't take much to be a top seller on eBay. It doesn't take much to get that top rated plus badge. You just have to take your business seriously and treat it like a business. But unfortunately, a lot of sellers on eBay do not, which creates a bad rap for a lot of the other people that are taking their business seriously. You don't know how many times where I've had conversations with customers, and I would say a good handful of times over the last year where they literally just responded saying "wow" to a question that they asked, and I try to respond as timely as I can, and they go, "Wow, I never thought you would respond." How many other sellers are selling stuff on eBay, logging out, and just never responding to questions? A lot of those things that can really help the customer experience. So yeah, I agree with that. Free returns, if you're new to the channel, I'm a big proponent and advocate for free returns. I don't know many businesses that don't offer any type of return. So I think that is just another great way to offer transparency as a seller. Deborah says, Chris from Daily Refinement says not to promote. I'm afraid to do that. Yeah, if he's right. I mean, if you have really good, I think there's another part to the sentence. If you have really good items, there shouldn't be any need to promote. If you're picking up all 100% sell through rate items that are guaranteed to sell within 90 days at a good average sale price, then there shouldn't be a need to promote. I did this experiment when I bought a storage unit, and I found a lot of Arc'teryx, discontinued Arc'teryx jackets, beanies, gloves. I did not promote any of those items, and they were all sold within just a few months without any promotion. So if you can treat your business like go find the Arc'teryxes of the world, whether it be for video games, trading cards, postcards, whatever you want to sell, if you can just find those high sell through rate items, then there shouldn't be a reason to promote. I sell mall brands, so I do need to promote because I sell in very saturated categories. But yeah, I think when you're just starting out as a seller, try not promoting, because I feel like if you do promote to start and then you stop promoting, eBay's not going to like that. Why? Because you're taking money away from them. So if you go at 10% promotion rate and then you want to drop it to 5, it's going to be hard for you to sustain those sales and impressions as you were at 10%, which just makes sense, right? But eBay will let you know for sure. So definitely start your business. If you're starting over again, try not promoting and try focusing on high average sale price, high sell through rate items. Josh says, Chris from Daily Refinement isn't even on eBay. Yeah. That's true, but I still do take his, as far as a lot of the principles in business management that he achieved in the 4 or 5 years of selling on eBay, truth to some extent, because he had the numbers to prove it. But yeah, it's hard to, when you're not currently on eBay, it's hard to know a lot of the dynamics of what's going on, dealing with the errors and the customer issues and, editing listings and things not saving and whatnot. But yeah, that's true. J Ride, what's going on, Jake? You guys need to follow Jake because he puts out some good stuff. Doing great numbers, doing good things. If you guys want to learn more about reselling, give him a follow. He sells a little bit of everything, so I think that it can be helpful for you guys, especially in an ever-changing world on eBay. You may want to start diversifying in the items that you do sell. So That's good. Good to see you, Jake. Deborah says, "Yep, but he was killing it when he was." Yeah, 100%. I mean, when Chris was rocking and rolling on eBay, I have a hard time thinking of who else was doing like $1 million in sales on eBay selling clothes. I can't think of any. So also many other successful sellers on eBay do not promote. Yeah, 100%. I think, I think Sean with Taylor Exchange doesn't promote either. Or there was another reseller that does not, or if he does, it's very minimal. So you can see and look at, man, if you do spend a lot more time in your sourcing, and this is something Chris has said a while back. Your sourcing life is going to be like an indicator on how well your reselling life is. So if you just source once a month, but you're so busy, getting them listed and everything, but you only source once a month, it's harder. You're going to have a harder chance to find good items, right? So the more you spend your time going out sourcing, you don't need to go out, 18 hours a day, but maybe you just go out instead of 1 day a week sourcing, for 8 hours, go out 3 times a week sourcing and split it up into like 2 to 3 hours. Now you're covering more area. You're hitting a few more thrift stores, a few more garage sales, better opportunities to find better items that way. So your sourcing life is going to be a glimpse and indicator on how well your reselling life is. This is why I've been more active in my sourcing. I get a lot of the product through wholesale shipped to me now, and also buying bales in different ways, but I want to be able to go out sourcing more so I can find better product and not settle for the items that come to me. But yeah, Deborah, that is good. Um, I mean, it's up to you. Josh says yes, but he was suspended for breaking eBay policies. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, everyone is free to run their own business how they see fit. I personally would have never, you know, at that time, I think hype sneakers were like at an all-time high in 2020, 2021. So many people were making so much money in those hype sneakers. And if you go on StockX and look at a lot of those prices that topped out in 2020, 2021, they are down like 80%. Some models more less than that, but yeah, I this is why I don't list things that I question like their authenticity in my store, because I just value it too much. So that's just my perspective. What's done is done, and you got to roll with it and live with it. It's a great learning opportunity. Mr. Run Good says, if you list every day similar and offer free returns and have stuff people actually want, you don't need to promote at a high rate. Yeah, 100%. I really do. I think that that's my biggest learning lesson as a reseller. When I first started, I started at the Goodwill bins, like probably most people, and I was picking up everything, like anything that I saw. Oh, I can make money here. Oh, I can make money there. And that is really the death to you as a long-term successful reseller, just picking up everything you think you can make money on. There has to be some strategy and process, like looking up every single item before you buy it and before you list it. You have to know, what does it sell for? How long does this take to sell? And then you can get a idea of, okay, should I buy this or should I not? So I learned that quickly, why things weren't moving in my store. And this is why I got out of books and DVDs and video games, is because it just wasn't fitting my model. It wasn't, ha- bundling books didn't work for me. Bundling video games didn't work for me. And I slowly realized, okay, I need to switch things up. And that's why I'm a clothing reseller now, because I've been able to look up so many brands over and over again, focus on what is selling in my eBay store so I could go back and buy those items. How many of you guys go out and buy the same things that you're selling in your store? I know that's a really kind of, you're like, duh, Bo, that's what you do. But focus on that. Every time you ship orders out, focus on what is selling in your store and go write it down on a notepad and go pick up Shark vacuums handles because I'm selling 10 a week. Go pick up more. You don't want to go pick up stuff that's still in your store, even if it has a great average sale price. You want stuff to sell through fast for whatever average sale price that's going to meet your margins. Um, so this is why the best quote ever tech and sports, some of the money all the time rather than all of the money some of the time. We're alive today. People go crazy when they go, "You're taking a 70% off offer, Bo. You're crazy." It's like, yeah, I paid $1 and I'm turning $1 into 6. And I'm alive today, and that's a terrible item. So I know I'm never going to buy that again, and I'm going to take the profit and go buy something better. So look and focus on the things that you're selling on your awaiting shipment screen every day when you guys ship out your orders. Start making a note. Wow, I sold 6 American Eagle jeans today. I need to go pick up more of that and stop picking up Hollister jeans because those ain't selling for me, that's for sure. But yeah, that's a good point, Mr. Run Good. Jamie says, yes, I see that, and I'm scared to do whatnot again, but it looks like I have to try harder. Yeah. You really don't know how capable you guys actually are until you're put under pressure. And anyone placed in a good time can have a good time. It's great. Things are going great. But when the going gets tough, that's what creates you to become a better person. It's like the make it or break it. It's either going to make you or it's going to break you. This is why I believe pressure should be embraced. Consider it pure joy when you face trouble, when you face times of trial and testing, because it's there to attack you, to show you if what you truly believe to be true. Your beliefs will be challenged in a time of crisis, and everyone is watching to see how you are going to be, how is your character during that time? Or are we just going to freak out when eBay starts changing things up and the sky is falling? It gets the clicks, but it's not what we're here to be and to do as successful business owners. Things are changing all the time. So this is why I wanted to start the video and podcast off with some principles of change. And yeah, it's scary. It's scary getting into other platforms, scary making changes to other business models. But I'll tell you what, I believe that doing nothing is not an option, especially in today's landscape. You need to do something. You need to take risks. If failure is not an option, then neither is success. You have to take risks. So, learning by your mistakes is the best learner in life. I've made plenty, hope to minimize them. Mental health matters. Bo, what type of clothing do you get returns on the most? Women's clothes. Women's clothes for does not fit. Praise God. But yeah, it's women's clothes. I get probably a ratio, let's say 20 to 30 returns a month. Um, 30 on the high end, 20 on the good end, and I'd say like 80% of those, 90% of those are for doesn't fit, and they're all coming from the women's side. Nothing wrong with that. This is why I offer free returns. And if you're thinking of getting into reselling women's clothing, just prepare for it. Women want to look good in what they're wearing versus men. It's like if the jeans don't fit, they go, who cares? I'll tie a rope around it. I'll rub some dirt on it. Whatever. We don't care, right? If it's loose, it don't has a hole. It don't care. We don't matter, right? But for women, if it's not perfect on how they're envisioning what they're buying, then it's going to get returned. I get some pretty funny returns. It's for does not fit. It says too loose, too baggy, didn't fit the way I wanted it to fit. And then that's great. That's fine. Thank God that they bought it. And also too, a lot of times they don't even get around to returning it. So if they don't even ship it back to you, then that return falls off. But prepare yourself if you are selling women's clothing. Mr. Rungood says so many awful listings on eBay. It's just full of junk. You have to wade through. A lot of clothing sellers don't even have measurements or show a picture of the size tag. It's crazy. Yeah. Scroll on some used clothing listings and you will find some feet in the picture on the bathroom floor with the toilet paper in the corner selling a Patagonia shirt, and that item will still sell. So yeah, as far as like from a professional point of view, buyers sometimes don't even care too. So it's interesting, but I try to approach the business, my resale business, as professional as I can. But yeah, scroll on eBay, you'll see bad listings, no brand. And actually, Jake, I'm going to get to your comment, but it reminded me of you did a great video just recently, how to source online. This is great. Sourcing by misspelled words. So you don't know how many misspelled titles and brands and words there are. There literally is an entire market where people will just sit around, wait for the alerts on their phone or on their computer for misspelled Patagonia, misspelled Gucci, misspelled Arc'teryx, and they capitalize on that. So you really have to focus when you're making your listings and look for errors like that, because once that brand is misspelled, it'll be bought by Jake. That's for sure. So that's important, getting your titles right. And yeah, you don't know how many times I've seen listings. I go, man, but it should be good news for you guys since you're here and you're learning that that's your competition. Those are the people that are eating Cheetos and list playing whatever, doing their listings, and that's your competition. So if you could just put a little bit extra level of focus in there, you're going to dominate. You're going to take the market over on eBay. Jake says a couple buddies and I made 100,000 selling solar panels. Then everyone started knocking doors and selling solar, and it became saturated. Saturated, yep. The top 10% of sellers saw no change and just kept working. Yeah, this is why I love the principle. Maybe you guys have heard of it, is the Pareto principle. So 20% of the sellers on eBay bring in 80% of the market. And that principle is found in nature. It's found in economies. It's found in cities. Look at the S&P 500, the stock market, where it's the top 500 companies. The top 10 companies bring in like 80% of the market. The FANG stocks, Facebook, Apple, those big, large Microsoft companies, they're bringing in most of the money. So if you are a top seller on eBay, and I'm not talking top rated seller or top rated plus, because anyone can get that. But if you're taking your business seriously, like how a business should be taken, eBay will reward you. And to get into the top percent, it sounds like it's hard, but it's really not. It's taking good photos. It's picking up good items. It's pricing them correctly. It's describing them correctly, shipping them out on time. That's it. So it sounds like, oh, that's easy, but yeah, there's more to it. But you don't realize how many people don't do those things. And that's a good point, Jake. A few laws changed recently, and the top 10% just keep knocking and made the same amount of money. Now they're making more as more door knockers dropped off 100%. Think about how many sellers on eBay right now that are not in that top percent that are now going, you know what, I'm gonna be done with this. Who not who, but what are you guys going to do in this time of crisis or errors or glitches? Are you going to stay committed to your process? Are you going to change up your processes? Or are you going to say, you know what, eBay, you served me right for the last 5 years. Now is the time where I've had enough. My belief is that if you don't quit, you will never lose. So maybe you have to change your business a little bit. That's fine. That's great. You could always change it back, but never quit on your dream or your pursuit. So many people quit too early too. They don't give themselves the time to really plan and strategize how your business unfolds on eBay. I started selling books and DVDs, and I'm not anywhere near that on eBay. So starting is the hardest part, but adapting to change as things change is the key, especially on eBay. Mr. Run Good says if you rely on one goodwill to run your business, it's not a real business. Sorry. Just going back to what we were just talking about, the more you go outsourcing, the better opportunity. How many of you guys go to just one goodwill and call it a day? Comment down below. If that's your strategy, I'd love to know and look at your store and see how you're doing that, because that is amazing. But yeah, it's really hard to go to one thrift store, buy whatever your listing goal needs, and be successful. I really do believe you have to have multiple ways to get inventory. Some people just crush it going to the Goodwill bins. I really do feel like that's a lot different than going to the retail thrift, because you have more variety around you. But I do think that having multiple ways to get inventory, junk removal services, storage units, creating your own junk removal service, collaborating with people who do yard sales, handing out your business cards, say, I'll come take it all off your hands at the end of the sale, because you know where all that stuff's going anyways, to Goodwill. So starting a buy, sell, trade store like Sean with Taylor Exchange, there's so many great ideas right now. Jake with J Ride Flip says, every day aim to be the top percent in whatever you do, and it doesn't matter what's happening around you, you will succeed. Yeah. In an ever distracting world, the key thing is this trying to distract you. So I think that the most valuable characteristic that a person can have in today's world is focus, what is known as deep work. Focus, deep work. You'll be surprised on how much you accomplish by turning off your phone for 1 hour a day and working on your dream. 1 hour a day. Everyone's got 1 hour. You can find 1 hour. Turn off everything, pen and paper, notebook, whatever, on do not disturb mode. Write that book you've been thinking about writing. Develop that app you've been thinking about developing. The world needs what's inside you. So if you can just spend an hour a day of just focused, deep work, you will be surpassing everyone around you because no one else can find an hour in their day, but they're spending an hour doing things that aren't necessarily fulfilling or are going to leave a long lasting impression on the next generation. So 1 hour, everyone's got an hour. I like to spend that hour in the morning before everyone's awake. So we all have our different times of the day. Secondhand USA Florida says, hi there. When do you think people will start shopping more? September. So I did a video a couple days ago just showing over my analytics last year, June, July, August, September. You can see that June is when I saw the sharp decline. July also decline, and then it wasn't until August when school starts up again, more and more people are getting prepared for the fall, the change in season, where my sales went up from like 16,000 to 19,000. And then in September last year, it went from 19,000 to 22,000. So you can see during July, every year is just the slowest time of year. So now is the time where you're going to see more and more impressions, more sales. Just stay committed to your process. I don't think that the sky is falling and we're going to just head into this depression. I mean, the stock market's up 21% year over year. So come on now. Mr. Run Good says, find items people want, list every day, make good listings, offer free returns, run coupons, send offers, accept lowball offers, and you will sell stuff every day. Otherwise, just get a job. Man, you should be teaching this podcast. Let's go right there. Wow, that is it. That is like my paragraph that they'll put on my tombstone. Um, that's exactly right. Just do whatever it takes on eBay to make sales. And especially if your cost of goods are low, get familiar with the eBay profit calculator. Make sure you know your bottom line, that you know your cutoff point so you're not selling stuff for a loss. But our goal is to turn these items as fast as possible. I don't know about you, but I am not in the storage business. Even though it might look like it, I try to get these items listed as fast as possible and to get them sold as fast as possible. But that is some great reality and good advice, my friend. Jamie says, okay, thank you. Shoes, purses, figurines, knickknacks, and jewelry will be next. Some clothing too. Okay. Yeah. I think the more you niche down, you start to gain a little bit more knowledge about what you're selling. And, but good to diversify. I think that if I were to do it over again, I would just niche down as soon as I could so I can really learn about the items that I'm selling and then expand upon out. But I think doing it the other way, you're kind of like focused a little over here, focused a little over there. Hard to get consistent at that, but everyone has their own business model. But good categories. I probably would drop knickknacks, but people kill it with jewelry and purses. People do great with shoes. Do you wash your clothing or other items if you sell? Yes, all clothing gets washed. It gets a little scoop of OxyClean, and we wash quite a bit. So, especially items that have stains that are worth keeping, I will treat them and then run them through the wash. The only things I don't wash are like linen, wool, and cashmere, because it just ends up kind of ruining the material. And I don't dry clean anything either. So only if it's really worth my time doing that. But yeah, I think getting your items washed whether they need to be washed or not, you're actually making them the best that they can be for the buyer. You don't want to be sending a buyer some stinky shorts. You want your items to look good, to smell good. And if you go on the eBay guidelines, it says to wash your clothes. So it's in the policy. Diane says, I've been getting email from eBay with items I've never viewed telling me to have another look. Yeah, that's happened a few times. Those items weren't even in my suggested. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff going on. Tons of Facebook posts about people not able to find their own items that they know that are listed in their store, but they can't find them. Lots of things. So it's not a surprise. Um, if you guys go into your traffic tab and look at your page views, what does your external look like? It's the black bar in your page views. I noticed that my external page views have 4, 5, 6x over the last week. So it seems like eBay is pushing my items outside the platform, whether it's in Google or Bing.com or whatever websites they're using to push my items. But I've never seen a sudden change in external page views. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on. Seems like eBay's trying to get you to buy some stuff you don't need, right? Deborah says, doing fixed ad rate, changing from everything to clothes and jewelry. Awesome. Okay. About half of my store is everything at this point. I tried turning off promotions on a few, and the next day they're back to 16. Interesting. Yeah, I've heard people have luck turning off their turning off their promotion and then turning back on again. Maybe that resets something in the algorithm. I wasn't about to do it, but I heard some people, they had an influx of sales from some older inventory when they turn off their promotions, but then it kind of dried out after a few days. James with My Boring Reseller has some good videos going on his process on what he did, and he actually went back to just promoting his items. Josh says this is the second or third time that eBay has gone through serious change with fairly drastic side effects. eBay is still here. It will continue to be there, and e-commerce will grow. Yeah, if you guys type in on Google, type in ThreadUp annual report 2023, and it'll just give you a good idea of the overall secondhand market, clothing in particular, on the projected growth. Like, the growth is insane. And if you're in it now, don't quit, because what is coming is just more and more buyers, more and more sellers. But this is why it's important to be proficient at what you do. Read books, learn, listen to podcasts. You don't got to listen to me because my business model might not fit your business model. But I just encourage you guys to learn, be lifelong learners, right? And that's how you're going to have that competitive advantage. So, very good point. This happens a lot. This isn't the first time that eBay's things have been crazy. If you go back and if you guys look at stock charts or do any technical analysis, pull up the eBay chart since its inception in 2001. You can see there's a lot of progressions, and then there's a lot of regressions. There's uptrends and downtrends, and you'll be able to spot when things are going weird on the platform. That's the downtrend. But I will tell you, the overall trend of eBay, it's up. It doesn't look like Radio Shack. It doesn't look like Mervin's. It doesn't look like Got Shocks. It looks like it's a steady growth because it's built on the internet. It isn't a brick and mortar store. It's built on more and more people coming online. Do you know 33% of the entire world doesn't even have access to internet yet? Think about how big this market is expected to grow in the next few years. So, really good point, Josh. This isn't the first time that eBay's had some weird things going on, but I will say that I've never experienced this in 2.5 years. I have experienced glitches and stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's silly eBay. But things like this, and then with more kind of talk going on about it, it's interesting. It's just important not to get caught up in it. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Josh says, borrow if you must, but do not give up. Grind, grow, learn, and build. It will get better. Future looks bright. Have some sayings that you can build into your heart, into your mind, that you can always look to, those principles and keys that are going to help you guys remain steadfast through the ups and downs. Life is full of ups and downs. Like I said, anyone can have a good time when things are great. anybody. Like, things are great. This is why you need to understand the principle of sowing and reaping. You sow during the good times with the expectation that the seasons will change, and you will reap the harvest in the bad times. And you go, praise God that I sowed those seeds. So you can kind of compare it to listings as the seeds. So keep listing, keep building your store. Your store will always grow in the summertime. If you're listing the same amount of items, because you're going to be selling less and less items, you're growing your store in anticipation that quarter four, whether you're selling used clothes or whatever it is, that you're going to just be selling more. And with more hooks in the water, you have more of an opportunity to catch more fish, to be able to reap the harvest, to be able to cash in on more sales. So that's good. I love that, Josh. Good stuff. Yeah, some good wisdom there. Marcus in the house. Hardest working reseller right here, Marcus. He's probably working. I know he's not sitting doing nothing. He's probably taking photos. Good job. Appreciate you, brother. Deborah says thumbs up. Thank you, Deborah. Tammy says me too. Mr. Rungood, I've been thanked so many times for simply responding to questions. I always say thank you for using eBay. We need to retain customers on eBay, be kind and professional, and we all win. Yeah, never for any time in my life, and this is just kind of coming from customer service background. Um, you get the term, the customer is always right. I think that's just more of from a psychological point of view, is you always want to empower the customer because you're in business for them. You're the only reason you're in business is because of them. They're buying from you. They're interested in what you have. So I'm never snarky. As much as I hate the lowball offers and the rude messages from time to time, I'm going to try my best to just um, go above and beyond and listen to this person. First of all, I don't even know who this person is. I don't know what they're going through, and maybe they're just taking some energy from their personal life and cussing me out about that shirt they got that had a hole in it. So I'm just going to do whatever it takes to keep buyers, save me as a seller in repeat business. That's the whole goal. Is a lot of businesses are built on repeat business. Costco, Walmart, all these big, huge corporations, are they continuing to get more new buyers, or are they trying to keep the buyers they have? So you should also approach your business that way. Even though you may never see or talk to your buyer, just try to go above and beyond and making sure that the buyer gets what they ordered and so forth. Josh says, 92 watching. Come on, crew. Hit the thumbs up. Yeah, if you guys are getting value, I appreciate it. We're hitting about a 1 year on YouTube, and just what a blessing it is that you guys can listen to me for an hour and 7 minutes, just kind of sharing with you what's on my heart over the last few weeks. And I'm just greatly appreciative. And I'm just going to do my best to continue to bring you guys as much value behind the scenes of what's going on. If you also have any questions after the replay, just leave them in the comment section and I can answer them in the next videos to come. Appreciate you. Jamie, thank you. Nice. You're welcome. Appreciate your support. You're always active in the comments, and thank you. Good lifelong fan there. Joyce says, so you picture as a separate thing and then label and bag after you list. Exactly. It is a little bit different. But since I have listers, I do it that way so I can audit their listings. So you don't see this big pile of clothing right here next to me, but this is in my draft bank. So this item here, this cardigan, is in my draft bank, and it's already been photographed. So I need to be able to go into the draft bank and assign a SKU number with these labels that I have here, and it will get bagged in this bag right here, and then it will go on these shelves behind me. But I audit every single listing because I want to make sure that the listers are disclosing flaws, getting the correct titles, getting the correct size and the item specifics. So it is a different process. I know a lot of people do take the photos and then bag and put the SKU on right away, which I think that's the best way to do it. But if you do have listers and you kind of do my method or that method, it's not my method, that's just a little helpful for me because I don't want to put it all away with bags and then look at the listing and go, oh man, they didn't picture that, or they didn't add the disclosure of this, and then I need to go pull it out of the bag again. And, so that's why you see all these crazy piles of clothes around me. This is all stuff to be assigned a SKU and put on the shelf. So that's how I do it. That's just the flow that I've been used to. Diane says, my opinion on promoted listings is if you're an established seller with a good reputation, you may not have to promote. I think promoting may help a new seller like me. Yeah, it's interesting because what we were talking about earlier is I really feel like it's all a game about getting the best items that you can. If you sell in saturated categories, I really do feel like it's pay to play at this point. But you need to figure out what you're willing to pay so you don't sacrifice your margins. And, just so many saturated categories within clothing that I feel like you do need to at least try to end up on page 3, page 2, page 1. And, you can optimize your title, you can have the best price, but if you're not being shown to the first few willing buyers, it's going to be hard for your items to sell. So if you're picking up stuff like John Varvatos, Roan, Ren Spooner, really high average sale price, really high sell-through rate items, I think promoting is on the back end. But for most people, it's hard to find that on a consistent basis. So I think if you're a new seller, try not promoting to start, get the feel of it, see how many good items you could bring in your store. And you're seeing that you have 1,000 items in your store, you're listing 10 items a day and you're selling 1 a day. Then you can start to say, okay, what happens if I promote at 2-3%? Just see. Don't be changing things too often too, because then you can never gauge what pushed the needle, what moved the needle. But I promote at 10%, and that's where I'm at. Diane says, okay, you just answered my question. Thank you. You're welcome, Diane. Eddie says, will hot items sell even faster with promotions? I sold some hikes boots for $200 within 4 days using promotions and paid $30 in promotions. Yeah. Should I have not promoted in this case? So you really got to learn the sell-through rate. What was the sell-through rate on that item? And that's going to give you the idea of whether you should promote or not. Are you okay if you do not promote your item to have that item in your store within 3 months and it sells? Like, are you okay with it hanging around your store for 90 days, but you save that $30 on promotions? That's going to be your call. I chose to do that with one brand and one brand only, and that was Arc'teryx, actually, and CC Filson. Sorry. I had some CC Filson bags that I did not promote either, and they sold almost within, like how yours was, within 4 days. I sold the CC Filson bag in 7 days. I sold all the Arc'teryx jackets, gloves, beanies within 3 months. So it's going to be your call. You got to pay attention to sell-through rate. So if it's not 100% sell-through rate and you're not promoting, then there's a good chance that item hangs around in your store. If it's a 50% sell-through rate, then it could be 6 months. So it just depends on the items that you're listing. If those boots had 100% sell-through rate, I would have considered not promoting them because you have almost a guarantee that item will sell within 3 months. But $30, everyone has their own business model. Some people pay $1 for their items, some people pay $20 for their items. So it just depends on what fits your business model, how much space you have. Also, some people are working out of their spare bedroom. Mr. Rungood says, hype shoe sellers and buyers are mostly a bunch of shady clowns. Stay away. I never got into the shoe thing, never got into any of that. So yeah, I can't really comment on that, but it does seem like when there's a meteoric rise and exponential growth in a market, it creates a lot of bad actors to come in there. So you see a lot of fakes and problems with authentication. And I'll just go the other way. I'm not chasing trends or anything like that. But yeah, it's true, right? There's a lot of bad actors on eBay, a lot of bootleg sellers, and eBay has a hard time cracking down on that type of nonsense, making it kind of look bad for the people who are actually trying on eBay. Dark Black says, yeah, the hype sneaker game is down and bad at the moment. Yeah. I don't know if you guys are curious, StockX has some cool little graphs you could look at for a lot of those hype sneakers, and you could see that there was quite a bit of a peak in, 2021, early 2020, where a lot of those were at the top of the market. Same with Pokemon cards, trading cards. There's seasons to everything in life. It's important that you capitalize and understand the season that you're in, and then also have some vision, seeing what could be possible in the future, so you can, not start selling hype sneakers at the top of the market and you invest 10 grand and now it's worth 2 grand a year later, right? But yeah, tech is one of the best there is. Yeah. Love them or hate them. Look at the proof is in the pudding. I always love that, right? Like, look at what they're saying and then look at what the production is. Look at what they're saying and look at the production. So this is why I always believe in having mentors, but not just mentors that are where you're at, mentors that are on a level that where you want to be, and it may be harsh truth that you don't want to hear, and some people can come off harsh, but maybe it's the truth that you need to be able to take that next step. So I always encourage everyone to have a mentor, whether it's in relations or personal finance or whatever it may be. Fitness, we all hire personal trainers, right? That can be a type of mentor. Are you going to have a personal trainer that is not looking like a lot what they're promoting, right? It's hard to take in truth of a personal trainer that says you need to eat 12 donuts a day. You got to eat Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King. Nothing wrong with that, but it's hard if you're trying to get in shape and your personal trainer is teaching you how to get in shape, but they're not in shape. It's like a gold salesman that ain't wearing none. It's like a diamond salesman that ain't wearing diamonds. There's something about it. So yes, look at tech and sports, one of the best in the industry, and go, okay, he's making a lot of sense because look at the numbers, right? So it's good, and the whole goal is to take nuggets and pieces of information. You don't need to get married to the person. You just got to learn a few principles that are going to help you guys in life, and then continue to grow. So I know that I wouldn't be where I'm at today without the help of seeking out mentors, either in my faith or in my personal finance life, uh, reading books too, being able to level up your game and level up skills. Not only is focus one of the most biggest traits and hardest, most valuable traits today, the other one is skill acquisition, developing skills. It should be a never ending process. Diane says, what would sourcing eBay auctions be a good place to source? Yeah. A lot of people, I never do auctions for that reason, is because your correct buyer might not be on eBay in those 7 days where that auction is ending. So, sourcing through auctions can be a great way to have inventory come to you. So, depends on what it is. But yeah, that can be a great way, using eBay as a way to source. Mr. Rungood says, with tech leaving eBay soon, it certainly opens up a lot of opportunities, tens of thousands of sales that will go away. Yeah. Yeah. He's doing great with the size of the store he has. I think at the time, I think it's like 30,000 now, but 50,000 at its peak. He was outselling another store. I think tech had 5 employees. And if you look at Linda's Closet, huge operation. She's been on the Today Show, she's been online, but her operating costs are so high. She has every single photo setup is like thousands of dollars, tons of employees. The overhead is it's great because you can build your business that way. But I highly suggest looking towards a more simplified, easy to go, easy way about it, which is where tech, was outselling Linda's Closet. So it's like, what do you want to do? Do you want to have a lot of stress, a lot of overhead, 50 warehouses, hundreds of employees, $50,000 light setups, mannequins, virtual reality, all this stuff? Or are you just going to take the approach as I want to keep it simple? I want to have low overhead, minimal employees, and outcompete that. So also look at ThreadUp eBay store, 11 million listings, and they're selling less than what tech and sports does. So I don't know what to say, but everyone can run their business how they want. I just know that I'm not trying to build a conglomerate and be listed on the NASDAQ, right? I'm just trying to really actually keep that one person business model as long as I can. I know I have listers, but I'm really moving and grooving at this pace. And I think I'd like to just maintain this for a long time before I ever hire anyone else. And that's just because I like to keep my stress levels as low as possible. Uh, it is impossible to do, right? Flip It Good says, in the last 15 years, I've had to close 2 different brick and mortar stores and my husband passing away. Sorry to hear that. Started selling on Amazon and eBay. Having the joy of the Lord got me through. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of the scriptures that really hits me hard, this is just what I believe, um, is that consider it pure joy when you face trials and tribulations, when you face times of trouble. And there will be trouble. But also, too, I believe that if it wasn't for the house burning down, or my wife has a neck injury, that's things that we've been going through. Um, Also losing my job for COVID, I truly believe that I would not be here today in this situation if I didn't get refined to make me or break me. Could I have thrown in the towel? And easily, I'd be working at Taco Bell right now. Nothing wrong with working at Taco Bell, but I wouldn't be here helping you guys grow your business. So going through fire, losing it all, my wife's neck, and then getting laid off were actually the best things that happened to me. Well, financially, as far as, but like, having kids and family were the best things. But financially, those were the best things because it created pressure. It pressure to refine and seek out answers more diligently. Pick up that book that's been staring at you on your bookshelf for 7 years. Start to actually run into knowledge and absorb as much as you can, so you can start applying some of the things you're learning. And all of that made me a better person. And Flip It Good, good times are ahead, future looks bright, and just keep that focus, keep that belief. So love that. Al says, whenever I list consistently, eBay has consistently sent me offers and sales at the same rate. I list 5 and sell 5. eBay works. It surely does. Stay committed to the process. Don't focus on what's up or down. Just keep doing you. Keep sourcing good stuff. And you'll be like, Al. Vintage Master says, I sell mostly vintage furniture from the 60s to the 80s, but still love to watch your videos and learn how you sell your stuff in America. Nice. Oh, yes. Switzerland. Very good. Beautiful country. Oh, my goodness. But thank you. I appreciate that. Vintage furniture from the 60s and 80s. That's cool. Do you sell that on eBay or locally? That's cool. Yeah. Harder to find that type of stuff here, estate sales and stuff like that, but that's awesome. Mr. Run Good says, got to go, but happy I found your channel. I'll be back for sure. Thank you. Also, great family you've got. Really awesome to see role model material. I appreciate you. Thank you. First time I seen you in the chat, so I learned a lot from your comments. So thank you. Appreciate you. Josh says, Bo, you have a winner mindset. You will succeed. You are already if you embrace the suck and the grind, I'm sure. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. I never was that mindset. When first starting out, I had the world needs to make room for me because of this. It's like, no, I had the negative mindset. I blamed others for the reasons of why things weren't working out for me. And then all of a sudden, those stage of events clicked, losing the job, house burning down, wife's neck, searching through healing processes from doctor to doctor. And, I could have had that negative mindset, but boy, my all my hair would be gray or I'd be bald because that's stressful. So I had to really have that positive outlook. And, I don't know if you guys know, but John Gordon was a great inspirational author, and read a lot of his books on really mindset, how to shift your mindset. There's another good book by Carolyn Leaf called Switch on Your Brain, on really how you can rewire your brain through neuroplasticity. Your brain is malleable. probably butchered that word, but it basically adjusts on how you think about things, and it really can help you, go from that negative mindset to training your brain to be a little bit more positive. Be positive in the downturn times, and I appreciate that, Josh. It did take years of working on my brain and learning how to think in different ways about old problems, about the same problems I was dealing with. Well, how can I change my perspective about those problems? Because I know that it wasn't helpful for my health, for my family, and we're talking about eBay here, but I think a lot of the principles apply in everyone's personal life, their day to day, and really it's so important to have a kingdom mindset, a mind of Christ, and just a positive mindset. What's the number one cause of death? Stress from heart attacks. It's because people are out worrying a little bit too much. I do believe that worrying is one of the most unproductive tasks you can do in life. Instead of worrying, switch worrying with planning. Oh man, don't even get me started about planning, but planning, and replace worry with plan. Your plan may not always work out, but it's better than having no plan, right? Jake says everyone liked the video. Oh, appreciate you, brother. Oh man, he's coming in with some wisdom. Good to see this many people here live, Bo. I'm gonna head out. Keep slaying. Yes, you too. Appreciate you. Enjoy your weekend. Vintage Master says, dream big, plan well, work hard, smile always, and good things will happen. Oh, you guys are you're lighting me up. Marcus says, bro, spot on. I'm taking photos. Yep. Right. I knew you were. Like, I knew when I read your comment, I'm like, I know he's like taking photos. I'm actually about to take photos here too. How much is your book, and is it on Amazon? Yeah, it's on Amazon. If you search the Ultimate Guide to eBay Item Specifics for Clothing. Amazon does weird things. They had it discounted 30% off, 20% off. It's fluctuated. So you might just want to save it and bookmark it and maybe just check it every other day, because it does get discounted through eBay or through Amazon. But yeah, I appreciate you. I've been so shocked on the support through the book. It actually is just amazing having people reach out and go like exactly what I was looking for. And I just was like, okay, the purpose of making the book was going back to who I was when I was a beginner reseller and being like, what was the thing I hated the most? Was searching for definitions, especially when you're selling women's clothes. So I was like, well, why don't I just compile that all in a book, easy to read and easy to distribute among on Amazon print on demand. So you can find it linked down below if you guys are interested, and I appreciate the support. Last page looker says, keep up the great work. I've learned so much from watching you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Am I quitting? No, I'm not quitting. I will never quit. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to not try different things, at least with maybe some different platforms, maybe whatnot, maybe local sales, maybe changing my strategy on eBay a little bit. But no, I will, as long as eBay is on the top, I'm going to be selling on eBay as far as the top for secondhand marketplace. Hey, Montse, very informative as always. Appreciate you. Merity Benton says, missing my cha-chings while I list on the holidays, but that's why I sell on eBay, so I can afford the holidays. Yeah, everyone does eBay differently and for different reasons. And I think it's important to understand the aspect of the eBay landscape so you guys can pay for that extra vacation every year, or you can enjoy your holidays every year. Not all of us are here to build a six-figure business on eBay. Some people just want to keep working at their job because that's what they like, and they want to make a little extra side money. So this applies for both types of business models. Josh says, got to run, finishing up with my audit. Hey, appreciate you, Josh. Good stuff. Good comments. Peyton in the house. Peyton House. I just been saying in the house lately. I don't know why. What's wrong with me? Tech only lists and sells about 80 a day right now, so I don't see there being a difference. I'm being honest. Yeah, eBay's big. It's a big platform. So I don't know how much of an effect of tech being off of eBay will be, but I do know that there's another opportunity for people to, come up and be just as good as he was. So yeah, and I know he's starting to kind of phase out and get into other. He has multiple businesses. So, Bill's Showtime. I'm a new seller on eBay. Sometimes it could be discouraging, but I have never quit mentality. If you have that mentality, you will be successful. Because people who quit too early don't realize that they're literally right on the cusp through exponential growth curve. Everything, the hardest part in life is starting anything. Anyone can start anything in life. I can start this project, I can start a computer business, I can start programming, I can do all of these things. But it's how you finish. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. How are you finishing your day? You might have had a start to a day that was poor. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed, right? It's not how you start the day. It's how you finish the day. How are you finishing? Are you finishing your day lying down on your bed going, did I do all that I could do to make it right? That's how I am. You don't know how many days I start the day on the wrong side of the bed. But I will always say, hey, it's not how we start, it's how we finish. That's why some of the best games, basketball games, baseball games, any game, they started bad, but the comeback is real. And just as you can come back in life, in your day, in your business, however it may be. So just encourage you guys that don't quit and you are closer than you think you are. I want to finish this presentation up because there are a few key pointers here. eBay's balance sheet and capital returns. So they had a strong balance sheet over this last quarter two results. eBay maintains a solid cash position and balance sheet with 5.3 billion in cash investments and moderate debt levels. This provides financial flexibility. Where are they getting this money? It all ties back into they're not looking actively for more buyers. They're actually turning to the sellers to be able to take back some of those to be able to contribute to more of their profits. So, increased capital returns. eBay demonstrated confidence in its business by significantly increasing share repurchases and returning 383 million to shareholders. They purchased more shares of their own stock, double what they did last year. I believe they purchased $120 million worth of their own shares last year, and they had to purchase 383 million this year. So that's usually a sign of weakness within the company to appease shareholders. So the perspective for sellers, this is the big one, what I wanted to get to. Number one, revenue growth benefit for sellers. eBay's revenue growth suggests that sellers are paying more fees. Yes, we are. This may imply increased sales and demand for their products on the platform. I don't know. Are you seeing that? Number two, impacts of declining active buyers. With fewer active buyers, sellers may experience reduced demand and lower sales volume on eBay. Adjustments to marketing strategies may be necessary. Number three is lower GMV, gross merchandise volume challenge. The decrease in GMV can negatively affect sellers as it represents a decline in overall transaction volume and potential sales opportunities. Promoted listings as a seller's tool. This is what we were just talking about. eBay's focus on promoting listings through advertising initiatives can provide sellers with additional opportunities to drive sales and increase visibility. So I want to pause there for a minute that it does seem like organic sales can be a thing in the past, especially, well, I'll say this, that it would be for people who might be selling in more saturated categories. So the cash grab here is to now get you to start promoting your items. So the pay to play model seems to be the focus on where eBay wants to make their sellers now start competing. It's going to be hard to compete unless you're selling gold bars for under market value. Number five is eBay's authentication services. The expansion of eBay's authentication services, such as authenticity guarantee for luxury watches, sneakers, trading cards, and enhanced trust and potentially it will enhance trust and potentially enable sellers to command higher prices. True. So, yeah, I think that the focus for eBay now is going to be trending into more of those higher end luxury items, which makes sense. Excuse me. Number six, consideration for fees. Although not mentioned in the report, sellers should keep an eye on for any changes to eBay's fee structure. Fees are an important consideration when evaluating the profitability of selling on the platform. Yeah. So I think we had a fee increase recently, a couple months back, where a lot of the categories saw a slight increase in fees. You're going to see them continuing to increase fees. So, good news, bad news. I think it's going to push us into be able to seek out better items to resell. So, always keep learning on the items that you're selling, what is available in your area, so you can have the upper advantage of being able to bring those items into your store. So you can account for the increase in shipping charges, the account in more fees, all of the above. So, just wrapping up a summary of this document and of this Q2 report is the positive performance indicators. eBay's revenue growth and profit beat expectations, demonstrate the company's ability to navigate challenges and maintain financial success. But it may be through not what you think. They're not bringing in more buyers. They're actually on a steady decrease of more active buyers, but they are seeing a steady increase on charging you and me more fees. So number two, challenges to address: declining user engagement. You never want to hear that. Margin pressure and increased costs pose challenges for eBay. Strategic initiatives and cost management must be priorities going forward. Number three, opportunities for sellers. eBay's revenue growth and initiatives like promoted listings and authentication services present opportunities for sellers to enhance their sales and build trust with buyers. And number four, continued interest in eBay. As college students interested in the world of e-commerce and online marketplaces, exploring the nuances of eBay's performance provides valuable insights into this dynamic industry. Yeah, so that's kind of sugarcoating everything. We all know you guys are here, you're resellers. You know that you've been probably facing some difficulties in the last few months regarding eBay. There are some strange things going on eBay. And I just will encourage you guys to be able to understand the landscape. Don't be the person that is the type of person that reacts to change when they go, "What happened?" Don't be the person that goes, "What happened?" You wake up one day and go, "Wow, I didn't know things would change." But rather be the initiator of change in your business. Maybe you do need to level up your sourcing methods. Maybe you need to do a quick overview of all of the items in your eBay store and reanalyze, are these priced at market? What am I even making? How much should I be charging? And what am I paying from promoted listings? All of these things are going to allow us to look into our store with a new perspective. And I believe that without these crises happening on eBay, we wouldn't have otherwise. I reevaluated my whole business model over this last month to be able to strategize on all of these changes going forward. But if I did not do that, I'd be waking up and going, "What happened to my impressions? What happened to my sales?" Things are changing. Don't be a victim of change, but be an initiator of change. I appreciate you all. If you guys are catching this on the replay and you have any questions following up anything we talked about by me personally or business wise, leave it in the comment section and I will answer it on next video. So I love y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and be blessed. Take care, everybody.